Ever wonder how the pros make those snap decisions, those calls in sports betting? It seems so fast sometimes.
Right, like what goes into it?
Exactly. So today we're going to dig into the expert picks for May 3rd, 2025. These are from Puddin's POP. That's puddinspop.com/picks.html.
Okay.
We've got their daily picks, their performance stats. Basically, our mission is to unpack why they're making these calls.
Yeah, get behind the numbers. It's not just who they pick, but the actual reasoning, the data points they think give them an edge.
Precisely. Okay, let's jump in. Their strong play. It's the Colorado Rockies at the San Francisco Giants tonight, 9:05 p.m. Central.
Got it.
They're heavily on the Giants. Moneyline bet at 275. That's just betting on them to win.
And pretty confident, too. It looks like 76% probability.
76%, yeah. And they suggest a 2% bankroll risk. So what's the big story here?
Well, it really screams pitching matchup. They immediately flag the Rockies starter, Bradley Blaylock. His ERA is 10.29.
Wow, okay, 10.29. That's really high.
It is. Makes him seem, quite vulnerable out there. A big liability, as they put it.
Right. And they contrast him with Jordan Hicks for the Giants. Now, his ERA, 6.1 in A, isn't exactly stellar either.
No, but context matters. They figure he'll do better in Oracle Park in San Francisco, which is known to be pitcher-friendly.
Ah, the park factor, okay.
Plus, look who he's facing. The weaker bottom part of that Rockies lineup. They even call out Nick Martini's EV expected velocity is only 0.129.
0.129 EV, so that means he's just not hitting the ball hard.
Pretty much weak contact. And it's interesting how they blend that individual stat with the park factor.
Yeah, it's layered. And the Giants hitters.
Oh, yeah. They mentioned Matt Chapman. He's got a 0.487 EV.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike Yastrzemski is even higher at 0.516.
Okay, so real pop in that lineup.
Definitely. A balanced lineup, they say, ready to take advantage of Blaylock's issues, especially in that park.
So pitching mismatch, park factor, strong Giants hitters. You can see why they're calling it a commanding edge with 76% confidence.
Makes sense.
Okay, let's shift gears. Their good play for today. New York Mets at the St. Louis Cardinals. This one's earlier, 1:15 p.m. Central.
Right. Mets at cards.
They like the Mets here. Moneyline -144. Lower confidence, 62%. And just a 1% bankroll suggestion. What's driving this one?
Again, it really seems to start with the pitching. Huge disparity, actually.
Oh.
Yeah. They're highlighting the Mets' Tyler McGill. His ERA is a stellar 1.74.
1.74. That's fantastic.
Right. Compare that to the Cardinals' Eric Fed, who's sitting at 4.68.
Okay. Big gap there. Clear advantage on the mound for New York.
Definitely. And it looks like they think the Mets' hitters are set up well against Fed, too.
Like who?
They mentioned Pete Alonso. His EV is 0.323, and Juan Soto at 0.342. Key guys ready to capitalize.
So Mets have the pitching edge and hitters positioned to exploit the Cardinals starter.
Seems like it. And then they flip it and look at the Cardinals' offense against McGill. They suggest the bottom of the card's order might struggle. They mentioned Nolan Gorman. His EV is 0.413, which isn't terrible, but maybe not enough punch against someone like McGill.
Okay, so it's the combo, Mets pitching strength plus maybe a bit less depth in the Cards lineup for this specific matchup.
Exactly. That's why, even though the odds aren't as skewed as the Giants game, they see strong value in taking the Mets at -144.
Gotcha. And just to give people a sense of, their track record, they share their season performance too, right?
I do, yeah. It adds some credibility. Their strong plays are 5-1 so far.
Pretty good.
Good plays are 4-2. Overall, that makes them 9 wins, 3 losses.
And what about the bankroll?
Up 4.3%. So, solid results backing up the analysis.
And it's not just the picks, is it? They emphasize the why.
Right. They mention providing detailed reasoning with stats for every single pick. It's not just a black box.
Plus ways to stay in the loop, email, sign up, social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube.
And PWA support, which is basically like having it as an app on your phone. Easy access.
Shows they want you to understand their process, not just follow blindly.
Totally. Transparency is key.
Okay, so let's wrap this up. The main takeaways from Puddin's POP today. A really strong feeling about the Giants, mostly because of that big pitching advantage and the hitters they have ready.
Yeah, that Rockies pitcher's ERA is the big red flag.
And then a good value play identified with the Mets, again, leaning heavily on their starting pitcher McGill, having a clear edge over Fed.
2 plays, different confidence levels, but both rooted in analyzing those key matchups.
Which kind of leads to a final thought, doesn't it, for you listening? How can this kind of focused analysis, looking for these mismatches in data, maybe help your decision making? Not just in betting, but anywhere you have information.
Right. Where else can digging into the why behind a prediction or an outcome give you a clearer view, something to think about?
Definitely food for thought. If you want to see all the details, the stats, the full reasoning for today's picks, head over to putinspot.com/picks.html.
And check out their social channels to stay updated.
Until next time, keep digging deeper.